Hello and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Martine and I do videos mainly on Vedic astrology, natal and relationship interpretations, but I also use certain aspects and experiences that I have had from tropical readings, like the composite chart, for instance, which doesn't exist in Vedic astrology. And if you like this video and you would like to see more videos from me on astrology topics, please like the video and subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications bell to see when I will post the next video. Thank you. Also, I do personal consultations on various topics of natal and relationship astrology, and if you are interested in one of those, please email me at the email that I will write in the video description. Thank you. And also, before I get into it, big thank you to everybody who has already purchased a personal reading. Thank you so much and for your support and encouragement. It really helps me going with the videos. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say, so let me get straight into it. Today I wanted to talk about the seventh lord through houses. This is a video that I had promised to make in continuation with the series I started, the playlist I started on how to see the spouse or partner archetype in the natal chart. And so before I get into it, a few more mentions, namely that bear in mind that this is just one aspect that you should look at when you are interpreting what kind of partner you are attracted to and what kind of partner you tend to attract, namely what kind of partner you tend to end up with. And you need to look at the whole chart to really get an accurate sense of the kind of person that you're going to end up with. This is why I'm making these videos, and if you're interested in learning more about them, you can see the other videos in the playlist and the videos that I made on synastry, and also the videos that I made about Mars and Venus through signs, because those also apply to the kind of partner that you will be attracted to. Like I mentioned, so these are general descriptions, so you need to look at the big picture. And yeah. So, and also, like I mentioned, I tend to look at it from the sidereal zodiac and the whole sign perspective. I also write that in every video description, but I just thought I would mention it again. But these are general descriptions, so technically speaking, you can use them in whatever system you like, but this is the system and house combination that most Vedic astrologers use, and I have found it to be most accurate, so that's what I use. And yeah, so let me start. Venus through the houses. What does that actually mean? No, not Venus, sorry. The seventh house ruler. Did I say Venus? I hope not. So I meant the seventh house lord through houses, right? The seventh house is the house of marriage. It's the house of spouse and / partner. Nowadays, it doesn't necessarily mean spouse. It can also mean long-term partner. It also happens to be the house that rules business partnerships, so partnerships in general, and negotiations and trading and businesses as well, which kind of gives you a hint as to why marriage traditionally was basically a business, but I won't get into expanding that subject. Yeah, so the seventh ruler through houses, the other video is going to show the circumstances, so where you're going to meet your partners, where you tend to meet the partners, the circumstances, actual location of where you're going to meet the partner. So unlike, seventh ruler through signs, which shows, gives insight into the kind of partner that you will be attracting and the kind of partner that you are attracted to, and this will strictly refer to location. So it doesn't really show anything about the partner physically or with regards to character or anything like that. It simply shows the circumstances, right? So the signs in general, actually, this is true in general, when you're reading a chart, the signs show how, and the aspects to the planets also show how, the modality of something, how it's going to happen. And the house placement is going to show where it's going to happen. So let me get into it. So 7th house ruler in the 1st house. What does that mean? The 1st house is also called the house of the status quo. So it represents your place of birth, and it also represents your physical body, your appearance as well. So with the 7th lord in the 1st house, you're going to meet this person somewhere around your place of birth, so close to your place of birth, or at the very least somewhere in your country, your natal country. And it could also be that you're going to meet this person through anything to do with personal development, like a yoga class, at the gym, working on your body, on your physical fitness. Even something like, I'm sorry to be a bit grim here, but like an AA meeting, because that's self-improvement. You're going to AA meetings to give up your addictions, so you could meet your future partner there. So anything to do with improving, or it could be something like a meditation class, or Reiki, or Tai Chi, or anything with improving yourself, basically, especially your body. And 7th ruler in the 2nd house means you're most likely going to meet your partner through your family. So this could be through extended family, your parents, doesn't matter. It could be your cousins, your uncles. It could be through family gatherings, family events, like let's say your cousin asks you over to at their wedding, and you're going to meet your future spouse there, or your partner there. It could also be that you meet your partner in a sale, or anything to do with directly making money, like like even a garage sale, for instance. that could be something, because the 2nd house shows the money that you make literally through your own efforts. So direct selling, or direct purchasing, or something where you do something, or you provide a service and you get the money immediately after as a result of whatever you're doing or selling. That's about as much as I can say. Also, with the 2nd house, it could be that whatever the case may be, like you're probably going to meet this person also close to your home, or close to your area and culture of birth, the area where you were born, because it's closer to the 1st house. So, and it also rules family and stuff. So, okay, that's all I had to say about this. And 7th house ruler in the 3rd house. This means that you're going to meet your partner, or your husband, your future partner, or your spouse, your wife/husband, in situations connected to your neighbors, short-term travel, or like something called domestic travel. So travel within the same state, or within the same country, not far away travel. That's ruled by the 9th and 12th houses. So, or running errands, or also the 3rd house is actually also another placement that can show that you meet online, because the 3rd house is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is about verbal and written communication. So it could be that you're meeting through writing, or through phone calls first of all, and then you develop a relationship, something involving your speech, or you're both going to a lecture, let's say, or anything to do with speech, basically. You go to a speech, to a meeting, to a rally against, a political party. Anything to do with speaking, I guess. 7th ruler in the 4th house. This is one of those placements where you could actually, maybe rarely these days, doesn't happen so much, but it could still happen, I guess. This could be a placement where you meet this person first time when you're kids, like in primary school, because the first house shows primary education. It also shows the mother and the home. So it could be, again, this is one of those placements where you could literally meet this person through some kind of domestic activity, anything to do with your home, or purchasing a home, like real estate stuff, or something to do with cooking, like maybe you're meeting at, you're going to some hobby cooking class and you meet this person there, or buying furniture, or going through an interior decoration hobby course, anything to do with, the home. And also the mother. So maybe you're going to meet this person through your mother, like your mother's going to introduce them, or your mother knows a friend who knows a friend, if you know what I'm saying. Somehow it could be connected to your mother or your maternal lineage. And 7th house ruler in the 5th house. Here you're going to meet the person through education. You're going to meet the person, not higher level education, so education up until master's degree. So below master's degree, that's ruled by the 5th house. Anything master's degree and above is ruled by the 9th house. So yeah, with the 5th house, you're going to meet this person through it's very likely that you might meet this person through college, through something connected to an education, or any kind of course where you're educating yourself. Doesn't have to be like formal education. It can also be through anything to do with fun, extracurricular, hobby activities, because the 5th house is entertainment and it's what you do for fun. And also, I could be going out on a limb here, but it kind of gives me the impression that you could meet a person through gaming or something connected with games, the 5th house, and also anything to do with like movies, theater, like, I don't know, maybe your friends invite a whole bunch of people at the movies. Doesn't seem like it's gonna happen anytime soon, is it? Okay, sorry about that. But let's say, for instance, like your friends meet, like ask you and a bunch of other friends out to movies or theater plays, and you meet this person. They're going to be in the entourage, or anything to do with children. Like maybe you could meet this person through, I don't know, you're looking for a daycare system, a daycare service for, I don't know, your children or somebody else's children, and you meet this person there. Or you meet this person because, I don't know, they're teaching a child that you know, your own child maybe. So anything to do with children can also be an option. Also, off the grid, this is not on the topic of the video per se, but 7th Lord in the 5th house is a very strong placement for a so-called love marriage. Now, remember that Vedic astrology originated in India, which has a very long tradition of arranged marriages, so they made a point out of studying the issue of should a person get an arranged marriage or not. And this is one of those placements where, technically speaking, you should not get an arranged marriage, because if you do get an arranged marriage, it's most likely going to end up in misery and divorce. Because this is a placement where people need to fall in love with the partner first, and then marry. That's it. Okay, this is all I had to say about 7th Lord in the 5th. 7th Lord in the 6th house. This is a placement, so the 6th house rules, on the one hand, it is one of the work houses, work-connected houses, the houses that rule how you make your income and stuff, but it also rules, it doesn't necessarily mean your literal job. The 6th house is the house of everyday routine. So whatever your everyday routine is, oftentimes it is the job. So oftentimes you do see that people meet their partners at the job. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that. Like maybe you're a freelancer. Like if you're, I don't know, you would do project-based work where you don't, I don't know, you don't work for 5 months and then you work for 3 months and you live off that money. Let's say, for instance, I know it's a rare case, but let's just say, for instance, if that's the case, then you're most likely, you're not going to meet your spouse through your work. You're going to meet your spouse through whatever you do every day. So let's say if every day at 10 a.m. you go to the cafe shop around the corner, you're going to meet your spouse there. Or your future partner. It doesn't have to be the spouse, literal. Or it could be anything to do with your health. Obviously, the 6th house also rules the physical health. So, at the doctor's office, while getting blood tests done, donating blood, anything to do with medical things, medical examinations, therapy, even mental therapy, physical therapy, any kind of therapy. And also, the 6th house also rules pets. So you can meet this person while walking your dog, for instance. And yeah, just an example. Or at a pet shop, or while buying food for your pets, for example. 7th ruler in the 7th house. This means that 7th house rules, obviously, like I said, partnerships, and it also rules any kind of event that celebrates a partnership, meaning weddings. So you could meet your future partner at a wedding, or at a divorce. Like, this is it's kind of savage, but that's literally what it could mean. Or through anything to do with negotiations, contracts. Like, maybe you're gonna meet this person, like, I don't know, let's say you wanna, I don't know, like, you're getting insurance and they're selling insurance, or they happen to be in the area when you're getting your insurance done. Stuff like that. Or, of course, business partnerships. So if you're running a business, or if you're somehow involved with a business transaction, you could meet your partner there through that circumstance. Okay. And also any kind of celebration of a partnership, like I said. Any kind of, like, basically weddings. I don't know what other celebrations you might have, but I guess maybe there are others. But yeah. So 7th ruler in the 8th house. Here you can meet your partner. Like I said, 8th house has to do with hidden things, hidden knowledge, sexuality, power, joint finances. So things like venture capital, stuff like that, like investments. So again, you could meet this person. Let's say you're going to get a bank loan, maybe for a new business. Just for example, like each of these placements, they could show a pretty much a countless, how should I put it? Countless ways in which you could possibly meet this person, which is why you need to look at the whole chart. But yeah, these are the general descriptions. So esoteric knowledge is also ruled by the 8th house. So maybe you can meet this person at an astrology course, or astrology seminary, or anything to do with esoteric knowledge, because astrology is not the only one. Like tarot, getting a tarot reading, getting a psychic reading, everything to do with hidden knowledge is the 8th house. Psychology as well. So while looking for a therapist, you might come across this person. This person is going to recommend a therapist, or the therapist is going to recommend them, or you're going to meet them somehow connected to sexuality. Maybe you take a course in Tantra, or you're trying to purchase a book on Tantra and you come across this person. Some, sex shops, again, sounds really funny, but I don't know, I guess people can meet in sex shops. Finances, again, I mentioned that. Also, again, on a not so light note, because the 8th house is a pretty intense placement in general, an intense energy, you might also meet this person somehow connected to a funeral. So either at a funeral, connected to a death, something to do with death, or getting a death insurance. That would be a pretty 8th house thing. So, or anything to do with joint assets issues. Right, so there it is. That was my interpretation for 7th ruler in the 8th house. 7th ruler in the 9th house. This is a placement where you are most likely, not 100% because you got to look at other placements again, most likely you're going to meet this person while traveling to foreign places. And again, this is most likely travels that are outside of your country of residence, not your country of birth. Actually, your country of birth, because the 9th house is taken with respect to the 1st house, which is the house of the status quo. But yeah, traveling abroad. You're gonna meet this person while traveling abroad, or somehow they're gonna be connected to, again, you're gonna meet this person when you're going for a master's degree or a doctorate degree, or PhD, or any kind of like higher education positions or a teaching position. You can meet this person when you're attending a course on anything to do with higher knowledge, like religion, like, actually not religion. I'm not going to get into religion, but religion is not actually spirituality. But with the ninth house, yeah, but technically religion is also in the ninth house department. So yeah, you could meet this person while, I don't know, going to church or going to whatever your religion is. And you can also meet the person while taking a philosophy course, for instance, or purchasing books on philosophy, or going to some kind of conference, or anything to do with justice. Again, not necessarily a legal system, but somehow connected to the justice system, or like the laws. Like, I don't know, maybe you're gonna get a ticket and this person is gonna I don't know, be around when you're getting a ticket for speeding, or anything to do with a horse connected activity. So there might be, like, I don't know, you're going to polo or horse riding or any kind of like outdoors activity, especially when it's foreign land connected. Yeah, so that's what I have to say. 10th house. When the 7th ruler is in the 10th house, this is a placement where you are most likely going to meet your future spouse through your career, while you're working at a career, or through associations connected to your career. And not just career, but like social status. So this could be where, I don't know, formal functions, formal events, like, I don't know, your company is hosting the annual whatever they do, the charity thing or whatever, you're gonna meet this person there. Or like, or if you are self-employed, when you are looking to branch out, or when you're looking to expand your business, you are somehow gonna meet your future spouse through these circumstances connected to your career. Some of the more depressing interpretations for placements like this that connect the spouse archetype to the 10th house say something along the lines that you're not going to meet anybody that is right for you until you have a career, or until you work on perfecting your career and your social status. So I don't know, take it or leave it, but that's one interpretation that I have heard from other astrologers. And that's it. That's all I had to say. Seventh ruler in the 11th house. So this is a placement where you're gonna meet the future partner or spouse through your friends, through acquaintances, at events surrounding large groups of people, like at a concert, for instance, or yeah, anything to do with your friends. Like, so your friends recommend you see this person, then if you have this placement, you should accept that opportunity, because it is very likely that that's how you're going to meet your partner if you're looking for somebody. So yeah, or another thing that it can signify is that you might first be friends with your partner. So yeah, or you become friends with your partner. So yeah, like Harry meets Sally, that kind of scenario. Okay, 7th ruler in the 12th house. Again, this is one of the houses where you are likely to meet your future partner or spouse through long distance travel, sea travel. And again, it's a placement that can show that you're going to meet this person through somehow spiritual, either spiritual activities, like, again, it could be things like religion, esoteric knowledge, these kinds of activities that are about improving your spiritual knowledge, I guess. and spiritual development. And also it could be that you are meeting the person through using your imagination. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to be in some faraway land, even though technically speaking the 12th house, this is the really long distance travel. So this is like completely foreign lands. So it could be like that. It could be like you are traveling, to another continent and you meet your spouse there. But it could be that you are just somehow both involved in using your imagination while you are when you meet. So I don't know, any kind of play, Dungeons and Dragons, for example, any kind of role play or like make-believe activity. Again, it could be, going on a limb. Like I said with the 5th house, this could be a placement where you're meeting like through gaming activities or like something connected to gaming, theater, make-believe. So, movies, stuff like that. So, yes, and these were my general interpretations, and now I have actually decided to look into a few examples. Before I get into the examples, just a few things that I wanted to mention. Like I said in the beginning, the 7th ruler through houses, this is just one aspect that you have to look at when you are analyzing where you're going to meet your partner and the kind of partner that you're going to meet. Actually, in my experience, it is not the most powerful indicator. The most powerful indicators are usually if you're looking at Venus for men and Jupiter for women, and the Dharaka. But really, overall, you have to look at everything. Like, you have to look at all the indicators all the significators of what your partner is in the chart. You have to look at everything to get a sense of how you're going to meet this person. I mentioned this because in the examples that I looked at, I didn't just look at the 7th ruler through houses. I also looked at Venus for men, Jupiter for women, respectively, because remember, like I mentioned in the Venus series, the Venus in a man's chart is the wife archetype, and Jupiter, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it now. Jupiter in a woman's chart is the husband archetype. So these are more important actually than the 7th ruler. And, well, I would say yes, actually. In my experience, they're more important. But again, the 7th ruler is also very important, and you have to look at that as well. But if you are looking for, let's say, one single indicator that you have to that's the essential, but it's the necessary but not enough condition to determine the kind of partner that you're going to look at. You need to look at at Jupiter for women and Venus for men, and also equally important, perhaps, the Dharaka. And I made a video, like the first one in this playlist, about the Dharaka, so you might want to look at that as well. So yeah, that was a short introduction, and the examples, right? Vivian Lee, ascendant in Aries. And so ascendant in Aries means that the ruler of her 7th house is Venus, because her 7th house is in Libra. Venus in her chart is in Virgo in the 6th house. She met Laurence Olivier, and she met her first husband actually through everyday activities. Now, Laurence Olivier was somebody that she actually met through her job, which at the time was her everyday activity. She was working at the theater / movies or whatever they were doing, and that's how they met. And again, I looked at... Oh, and also for Vivian Lee, Jupiter, the husband, is in the 9th house, which shows that she's going to meet her husband far away from her place of birth. She was born in India, and she met her husband in England. So yeah, ironically, she met her husband far away from her place of birth. For Laurence Olivier, his ascendant was in Taurus, which means the ruler of his 7th house is Mars, because 7th house is in Scorpio in his case, and his Mars is in the 8th house. Now, in the 8th house, this is actually kind of like, I don't really see it here, but I mean, I guess you could kind of stretch it to show that they met through intense circumstances or circumstances revolving a lot of passion, or I don't know, 8th house, because the 8th house, I don't really see it unless there was some kind of like weird, unless they somehow there was a psychic involved or something. But he also has Venus in the 12th house, which shows that he's going to meet his spouse. Technically speaking, it could be, like I said, it could be that he meets his spouse in faraway lands, but it could also be that he meets his spouse through some kind of make-believe activity. And acting is a make-believe activity. So, or through use of his imagination, because the 12th house is also the house of imagination. With the Mars in here again, in his case, 7th ruler doesn't necessarily show how he met his wife. Or maybe the first wife. I don't know. I haven't done any research. But with Vivian Lee, it doesn't necessarily show. I mean, Mars through the 8th house doesn't necessarily show that he would meet his wife through his work, unless there were other aspects there that I haven't seen. Yeah, but Venus in the 12th house explains it, because he met his wife through using his imagination. Another example, Angelina Jolie. Her ascendant is in Cancer. Ruler of the 7th house is Saturn in the 12th house. Meets husband through using her imagination. I think she met like all of her partners through her job. And of course, you also have to look at conjunctions to the 7th ruler. I think in her case, like she has, let me think. She has Venus conjunct, no, she doesn't have Venus conjunct, no, Venus is in her 1st house, right, so she just has Saturn in the 12th, but it could be aspected by other planets, just saying in general, not in her particular example, but you want to look at what other planets are aspecting the ruler of the 7th house as well, and what houses those planets are ruling. And that might also give indication to the circumstances of your meeting. And also, in her case, she has Jupiter conjunct Mars conjunct Moon in the 9th house, which means, among other things, because here, again, like Jupiter conjunct Mars conjunct Moon, you also want to look at what the Moon and what Mars rules in her chart. So, I don't know, because I don't have her chart in front of me. These are just things that I noted down. Obviously, Mars rules... no, actually, the Moon rules her 1st house. Mars rules, let me think, for a Cancer ascendant, probably rules the 5th house and the 11th, I think. I think so. Yeah, the 11th, right? Because... no, the 10th house, sorry. Because she has... so ascendant in Cancer means that Aries rules the 10th house. So, yeah, it pretty much matches that she met her husband, she met her partners through her career, through her image, and through her imagination and her creativity. So, yep. And again, like I've just looked at these 2 main placements because these should be enough to give you an idea of how you're going to meet somebody, but you need to look at the whole chart because there are a lot of different aspects to look at without even counting transits. Brad Pitt, ascendant in Scorpio, 7th lord in the 2nd house, and in his case, 7th lord, which happens to be Venus. So in his case, it's easier because Venus, which is the significator of wife in a man's chart, also rules his 7th house. So it's the 7th lord and the wife archetype, 2 in 1. I'm not sure about what his dark arca is, but I'm pretty sure that I mentioned him before. So yeah, I think his dark arca is also Venus, which would be really weird. I'm not sure though, so I'd have to check. But anyway, he has his 7th lord and which happens to be Venus conjunct conjunct Mars, Mercury in the 2nd house, and Mars and Mercury. So he has the ruler of the 7th conjunct the rulers of the 8th, 11th, 12th, 1st, and 6th houses. It's intense. So in his case, really, he could have met his partner in a variety of circumstances. But with 11th there, again, could have met his partner through mutual friends, acquaintances. With 6th house there, he could have met his partner in everyday activities, aka acting. Venus in the 2nd house in itself can show either meeting the partner through the family acquaintances, family gatherings, or again, like I mentioned, it could be through any activity that brings you money directly. So it could also be through his job in his case, because in their case, I think as actors they get paid for the movie, so it's like more of a 2nd house thing in a way. Yeah. So, and also conjunct 1st house, it means most likely he's gonna meet his partners through close to his place of birth or domestically, not abroad or anything like that, which I think that's pretty accurate in his case. I think he meant all his girlfriends were American. Yeah. And 12th house, again, using his imagination, which is accurate apparently for a lot of actors. I wonder if it's a thing for actors to meet their spouses while using their imagination. Yeah. And another example, and final couple example, Meghan Markle ascended in Cancer also, like Angelina Jolie. Her 7th ruler, Saturn, is in the 3rd house, conjunct Venus, conjunct Moon, conjunct Jupiter. Again, a handful. In her case, her 7th ruler is in the 3rd house, conjunct the rulers of the 11th, 4th, 1st, 6th, and 9th houses. Now, in her case, you see there's 9th house in the mix, and she met her husband, Prince Harry, in foreign lands, which is more telling. She also happened to meet him through mutual acquaintances, because she has, so the 11th is there as well. The 11th, the 1st, and the 6th everyday activities. And if I remember correctly, like I don't have her chart in front of me, but if I remember correctly, I think her Jupiter, no, actually, yeah, she has Jupiter there. So Jupiter is conjunct the ruler of her 7th house. And they are all in the 3rd house. And I think they met for the first time at like some kind of charity event. I think it was the charity event that Prince Harry was working on, something with the Invictus Games. I'm pretty sure I mentioned them before. And yeah, so it's really funny because it's a 6th house, by the way, can also show charity. I haven't mentioned this at the 6th house thing, but now that I see it, it's pretty clear in her case, because, so in her case, the ruler, once again, the ruler of the 7th is conjunct Jupiter, which is the husband signifier, so they're almost like one and the same thing in her case as well. And they are in the 3rd house and conjunct the ruler of the 11th, 4th, 1st, 6th, and 9th houses. So, yeah, and she met him at a charity game that was a charity event that was in a foreign land because it's connected to the 9th house, and connected, and she was introduced by acquaintances. So there's 11th house thrown in the mix there as well. With the 1st being thrown in and the 4th, I'm not really sure how those play out. With the 1st house, probably just the fact that, she was famous. Because the 1st house is about who you are as a person. So your name, your body, it could also show your physical beauty. So it could show that she has met her future spouse by being known for her body, for her name, her personality. So yeah. 4th house, I'm not really sure. Like, unless her mother was somehow involved. But in any case, obviously it doesn't have to be like a perfect description, but in her case, I think it's pretty well described how she's going to meet her spouse, and it really played out. Prince Harry, on the other hand, has ascended in Sagittarius. Mercury, the ruler of his 7th house, is in the 9th house, conjunct the sun in Leo. Now, number one, that the first thing that is really funny here is because, like, so his 7th ruler, Mercury, is conjunct the Sun in Leo. This is not about location, but it shows that he's gonna meet, that his wife is most likely going to be somehow a public figure, because the Sun and in Leo, especially an actress, like, it's actually particularly indicative of somebody involved in the dramatic arts. Yeah, but definitely a public figure. And also, so the 7th ruler, Mercury, is conjunct the Sun, and the Sun rules the 8th house, which is, I guess it could be that she's gonna be the death of him. I'm just kidding. But it could also mean, like, a person of power. 8th house is the house of power, so again, this is something that I should have mentioned when I described the 8th house. But yeah, 8th house is also the house of power, among many other things. And it's also in his chart, Mercury rules the 10th house in Virgo. So somehow the 10th energy and the 9th energy are involved in the circumstances surrounding how he's going to meet his future spouse, because Venus is in the 10th. Like I said, this is an example where Venus is a better indicator, because he met Meghan Markle through his career. Like, this Invictus thing that he was organizing was basically part of his career as a public figure, as a member of the royal family. It is also like a pet project. And he was introduced by mutual acquaintances that he knew through his social status, through his career, quote unquote. So yeah, I think it's pretty telling. This is going to be a really long video again. So if you have made it until the end, thank you once again. This is the video. I hope you have found it informative. If you have any feedback, please let me know in the comment section. And also, if you have like any ideas or like any particular requests of subjects that you would like me to make a video on, please mention that. And once again, please, if you like the video, like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. And if you're interested in a personal consultation, please email me at the email that I will write in the video description. And thank you once again.